So Jarek would probably think maybe if we go south from here. I couldn't think of any other kind of questions to ask the veg pygmies.
Yeah, I'd say let's try to hop on those roofs. Maybe have a little bit of an easier time getting around.
Gotcha. So if you all move out onto these roofs, they're still like consumed by vines. It's not a whole lot easier to move. You don't necessarily have to cut paths to kind of clear your way through this. But you can find yourselves with a few different roofs, all kind of the same level. Signs that they are maybe two or three buildings kind of constructed together, smaller like little shed to the east almost that's like a single story where you're on the second story here. Little bit bigger structure off to the west of you, and it seems like it might broach between the building you saw to the west of that like storage silo. Signs of kind of a entryway maybe ahead of you if you were to go south and get off of the building. It's about in that same area where it seems to kind of connect to the back building.
Let's check it out.
Roll a D100 for me as you start to explore into this area. So heading through this area, you all are going to find much larger kind of like storage facilities where they're very big, grand rooms, high ceilings that are basically giving you this sign that it's not like a three-story building. This is just a open, uh, like just large shelter. Um, Front area seems maybe a little bit more set up for like smaller rooms and a lot of individual like fronts to the outside. I think there's going to be a general feel that this is almost like a merchant's quarters and kind of like stalls that would be businesses, and then like the main area might have been like a state, either like grain silo or like grain distribution. But it kind of gives you that idea that like you have a bunch of small stalls around what is effectively where probably like everybody had to go for their grains. But more or less, you guys can kind of see that this is kind of like a merchant's sector along this area, and it seems to comprise all the way to the face of the cliffs off to the west.
We kind of after looking through it, Jarek will suggest perhaps we should can you see if we can find anything to the south?
Yeah, continue down the path to the south. See all we can.
Seems like perhaps it would make sense to have the temple near the merchants section, but
When you're thinking back south along the path, is the path like that stone like highway, or are you talking about heading south like into this kind of the would have been like a road that's like the overgrown vines like here. Sorry, that was poorly said. Are you gonna go back to the east and then south, or are you like exploring south into like the jungle kind of area?
Jarek would be all right with just kind of setting off into the jungle, kind of trying to clear a path, but he'd, defer to what the others, if they have preference.
No, I think that's a fine idea.
Yeah, same with me.
Sure.
So initial kind of looking off into that area, you're going to see kind of like a taller column of what would make you think of trees, except for that there's no canopy at the top of it. This column kind of rises a pretty similar height in almost 3 or 4 stories. A pretty small general size to it, maybe 20 feet along the sides. Other than that, some of the uh, like canopies of vines seem maybe 20 to 30 feet up, and it almost seems like you could kind of cut into thirds and have a little bit lower, like almost visible to the head. If you could get like 8 or 10 feet up off of the ground, you feel like you could almost like see down the line of this point exploring this place. This might be like a side street that basically splits this area into thirds. Do you all have kind of a thought there, like exploring some of the buildings to the west, exploring the bigger building that's kind of central, or trying to explore one of those side streets?
Do we think maybe if Taryn maybe tried to he was able to climb one of these columns, he'd be able to get any better sight, or is it like kind of the jungle canopy is growing up like alongside it, so we wouldn't really be able to get much of a better view from above?
You can certainly send him up and see. Is everybody going to wait while Taryn kind of gets this height advantage that he can?
Yeah, I'd wait for that.
Yeah.
Let me get a d20 from you, Taryn. So, climbing up into this like third or so story building, you can easily make it to the top of these vines. It is probably a little bit shorter than the rooftop where those pygmies probably are, but this is one of the tallest, like domes of green that you can kind of see as you are now looking off and kind of down at Omu. In general, this is going to look like a carpet of like dark greens with very vibrant greens, where you can see leaves that are like uh, poking through and kind of reaching out. There's a lot of vines that are across even the tops of the canopies of these trees, but you can see the signs that like it doesn't matter. The trees are fighting for that, and those are like the biggest popping greens. But otherwise, it looks like a big, thick carpet of this, almost like shag carpeting in a microscopic view, where there's undulations and a lot of big things to see. As far as what would initially jump out, you can certainly see signs that these highway things that you've been walking down at least continue for what would have been the entirety of this valley. You can see that odd straight line, even inside of all of this growth of greenery that is displayed by the stone there. And it's also darker where you see stonework because it's more vines than trees. So you see less of that like really bright, vibrant green. Um, you see one of them almost gives way in about the area where you are, and you can see some of the signs of those out in the water. And that's actually, I've already got that revealed for you, but you can kind of see that this river kind of running through is basically on top of one of those north-south lines. You can see across and the entire circle of where you all recognize the Yuan-Ti to be, as well as like the big green center of what was once the, you can see it's like the largest and tallest structure, is at the center of that circle. Still looks like a big green button in the sky, but as far as things go, like that's kind of the tallest structure that you can really see from where you were at. With that kind of general description of what you're looking at, what are you, Taryn, looking for?
Well, mostly like you said, like there were patches of like more brown where there were only vines, like the roads. See if there's like any openings like that, or whether basically where there's more vines than trees.
I'd say you can probably identify the rest of that east-west one where you guys were traveling before, as far as signs that there was at least some sort of structure that did a pretty similar thing in an east-west. Insofar of just looking for like vines, none of the other structures are large enough to give you too much of a clue. Simply going on kind of like the colors of it, because otherwise speaking, you're seeing signs that most everything has trees somewhere nearby. Because otherwise, like, again, like these are special locations because you can see less of that big vibrant green. Most of the rest of what you're looking around at all has those separations that kind of tell you um, there's earth somewhere below this point. So what else might you be looking for as you get up there?
Well, mostly everything's green. There's no. Can I see like if there's any patches where there patches in the trees, basically, like structures there, but so the trees are growing around them, but they can't grow on top of them, I guess.
That's the same thing that I mean. Like, there's nothing that's big enough that you're going to be able to um kind of like isolate that simply by what you're looking at here. Let me bring everybody else in for the thought of what kind of thoughts do you think you are sending Taryn up there to look for? Because again, like I'm showing you guys a map here, but this whole thing is covered in the jungle. The jungle has like consumed this city. You guys are cutting away very thick jungle to even move feet. And that's one of the hardest things to kind of like share that perspective of for what it's like when I'm showing you a map that looks not.
Well, Island's a cartographer, right? So he knows we've missed areas. We're just plopped in this giant place. You can't really get a good view of anything. But he'd be looking for, lines and structure. Is there, like, can we see the edges of the city to the south? Can we see the confines? Like, we can sort of see that to the north. Can we see it to the south at all?
Like I think one of the biggest clues is, yeah, you can see that where the big line of like the highways ends. That is effectively kind of like the southern cliffside of this place. I think, yes, I've been kind of revealing that you guys can see all around the actual like cliff sides of Omu at this point. Yeah, I guess my kind of general point is I'm curious what you are focused on, because I don't think you guys have much to gain looking from above. This has been like a search and destroy. You need eyes on to even have like a sense of it. Everything from the outside just looks like a city that is lost to the jungle. So I'm trying to see if you have something that you think would stick out to actually give you something to attach to.
Not really. I mean, I guess one thing would be we might be able if the T Rex was anywhere around. It's probably big enough that we would maybe see it above the some of the jungle cover. But I didn't have anything really specific. It just seems it's like kind of you know usually
Yeah.
get the height and get a bit of an advantage. I hadn't really stuck in that like that's not gonna work here.
All right. So yeah, looking around, you guys can at least see that you don't have the T-Rex on you right now. As far as things go for that, um, mechanically, I could generate where the T-Rex is, and mechanically, I could tell you that it's not here right now. But just because you have height doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to remove the T-Rex. I don't mean to drop like the verisimilitude for that. Um, but I think there's little more comforting than to say like at present you don't see the T-Rex like coming after you kind of thing. Um, Part of why I wanted to show it to you guys is to recognize that that northwestern is a little bit more dangerous of an area as far as um, like giving you the illusion of it versus knowing where it is at all times. Um, I don't think everything is basically within kind of its height to hide. There's a few spots where, like, if it's actively walking there, you'll see it. But in general, I think, like, at best, Terran's kind of looking around and confirming that the T Rex isn't in sight somewhere. Um, as far as just looking around this area, I think looking down on the buildings around you, I think let me get a perception check from you. So, looking down from where you are, I would say that with enough verticality, you can spot two buildings, maybe a third building, that are within the general size of what you've kind of come to like expect from these little temples. You've paced off enough of them, like searching for traps. Like you always have a good sense of the actual like length of how far things are. You keep a very like ritualistic kind of count of your paces to let you know like um if you hear a trap going off, you can run this far, kind of like where you'll be as contingency plans, kind of thing. With that sense, you've got a good enough idea that there is a building probably about 400 or so feet to the south of you that is a rectangle of that general size. And you can see that the vines all kind of stand up in this way. To the east of you, there is another area where you can kind of see like the structure of the vine seems to stand up in that general kind of rectangle size of these temples. And that one's probably about 500 or so feet away, just on the other side of this little highway system. And then above that building, to the north, is another structure that seems to be about that like 2-story high, um, like size of the actual temples. So from here, you can spot that there's 3 good spots close to where you are. 2 of them are to the east. 1 of them is to the west, or to the south.
Yeah, I relay that back then. Guys, there's buildings like south of us that looks like it could be a temple, like 400 yards maybe, and the same to the east of us, like more 500 yards. And there's 2 buildings to the east, which might be temples. Don't rightly know, but they're worth checking out at least.
Well, then hurry up and get down from there and let's get at it.
Did you say you spotted something possibly to the north as well?
Ah, yeah, sorry. The 2 to the east. There's one just like 500 yards east of us by down the stairs there, and the north of that is also one that might possibly be a temple.
Should we check out the one to the east then? Start with that one.
Sounds fine to me.
Let me get a survival from 2 of the 3 with proficiency, please. It'll be the 2 leaders, basically, who are pushing through. Yeah, so as you are chopping your way through this kind of street that runs east to, or west to east, east to west, along this area, you are eventually going to clear a path that kind of leads over like a almost like bump kind of structure in the center of this road. Um, let's see. Passives. Passive insight is 13 on Jarek.
Yes, because he is proficient with insight.
Yeah, so
14.
like kind of like passing over this, you're going to have a kind of sense of like where there's almost like straight lines in this kind of like bump in this road. It's probably about like 8 or 10 feet wide. You can see the stairs within sight behind it, and maybe or 8 or 10 feet like long front to back, and maybe like 6 to 8 feet wide, right to left in front of you. Um, what is that? Like 3 to 5 meters long and like 2 to 3 meters wide. And you're kind of looking over this. You can see straight lines that kind of tell you that this seems to be some sort of like rectangular structure, and it almost like leans in towards you. So it's lower close to you than it is high behind you, where it's about like probably 3.5 feet, maybe like a half meter above the head of Terran. You can kind of see it almost ramps up in front of you. What kind of thoughts do you have before you get to the structure and the stairs beyond?
Um,
Oh, my apologies. I left off a key part. As you clear up to it, you are going to see that there are little flowers of various colors that are all kind of like growing across this. And you can see signs where some of them are almost like laying near it in like circles and squares and triangles. And that's part of what you're noticing here is like geometric shapes in flowers that are kind of growing on the structure.
um, Yeah, so maybe suggesting that maybe they were kind of cultivated that way. Is like these are tended. Um, seems like possibly something that would be done at a temple. And the stairs leading up that might be. Um, yeah, Jarek is going to kind of suggest that we explore this a little bit further. This seems like maybe the first, somewhat promising. I don't doesn't see any like evidence of like the remains of a wall or anything on the outside, but might be worth checking out in any case.
What are you thinking about checking out? What are you?
Oh, just like continuing on, like up, like kind of making our way up the um, what seemed like the, I guess, stairways.
Just moving beyond it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you guys can continue to chop your way beyond this. You can move up to the stairs, eventually chopping through. But you all are going to come to the other side of the stairs, eventually making your way down. You have one of these structures to the north of you and one of these structures to the south of you.
I'd say check the one to the north out first and then go back south.
Works for me.
Yeah, I have no issues with that.
So, after a few minutes of work, you all are going to find that the structure to the north of you seems to be at least a wall on this side. Uh, if you would like, you could probably spend another like 15 or 20 minutes to clear this building.
Let's do it.
Roll a D100 for me, Island.
Wow, what are the odds of that?
Right? Going through this building, you all can take some time clearing it. You're going to find many various rooms to it. As far as things kind of play, it seems like it takes up just as much real estate in rooms as the floor plan allows, that there's not really anything like secretive about this place. Uh, Probably first impression from most of you is that this might be some sort of living quarters.
Like a family or military?
More like a apartment kind of thing. You're finding a lot of different rooms still. Most of them are smaller rooms. Kind of my general idea was again like giving Chris a little bit of leeway. I mean, even with Island, your idea of like walking about probably is a pretty similar way as a thief, of kind of keeping a measured thought behind things. If you find 8 rooms and they're all like 4 feet wide, when you come outside and it's like a 24-foot long building, like you expect, that works out close enough that that's probably just as it's constructed, it is as it looks.
All right, seems a bit of a bust. Guys, where was the other building we wanted to look at?
That's to the south of you guys.
Who wants to lead the way over there?
Might just be more of the same, but suppose we should be thorough.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go check it out.
What is the marching order as you all are kind of approaching through here? Are we still doing, was it Island and Jarek at the front? And we've just got like Terran, Zaps, and then Eku.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me have Island and Jarek roll a d20, please. I feel like rolling a 1 should always be the winner of bad things, but I was thinking the highest dice gets to win this prize. So as you all start to hack your way through the jungle, trying to make your way into the southern side, there is going to be a point, Jarek, where you are raising your sword to cut away a vine, and you are going to hear the voice within your head. This isn't like the others. 2 arms. And then yeah, I think it'll be a little bit different in this one. There's no like bloodlust to that kind of thought, but it's calling you to your arms. And with that, we are going to go to initiative here. Let me have you all roll, and yeah, I think everybody's going to be surprised except for Jarek here. Like taking notes of initiatives, and I'm writing the numbers, not your names. That's really, really useful.
And Jarek, I think, would have advantage, so it would be 10 from the sword.
Alrighty, so as you hear this warning, Jarek, you are going to feel as the vine that you're kind of grasping out towards is going to start to almost like spring back, almost as if you like started to pull on it. It's going to pull back, and your initial thought is like, oh, this vine's really well attached. As you're hearing this sword's kind of warning, it's dawning on you that this is not like a springing back into place. This is a pulling force. And as this kind of pulls around, you're going to feel on the opposite side of your body as this thing is going to start to whirl around, and the vines all around you in almost your entire view forward, where you are going to cut, will start to kind of like whirl around as they all start to move, and you're seeing that these vines are like 15-20 feet long in singular stretches, and they're just kind of like whirling into action. And the first one is going to grasp at you with 22 should be a solid hit on you.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And that is going to deal this +4, 14 bludgeoning damage to you as it kind of grasps into you and is going to start to slam you like down towards the ground. Another vine. This one is a 16 to hit. I think that's still a hit.
Yeah, because I think at this point Jarek doesn't have both blades out because he was just chopping through the vine, so his AC would be 16. He wouldn't get the +1 bonus from dual wielder yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, in the long run, if you feel unsafe and you start to change that, that is certainly an acceptable thing to do.
Yeah, I feel like
But-
chopping through the jungle, he kind of needs one hand free to kind of like move vines out of the way and stuff. So
It's definitely viable. I was going to say there might be like a threat of exhaustion if you're chopping through with both arms. But in the long run, like I feel like you can find that balance between paranoia and other things. So as this is going to smack into you, oh, I just rolled not the damage yet. It's another 13 bludgeoning damage from that one. So as it's kind of like smashing into you, you are grappled by these vines, and as they start to like wrench around you, all of the vines that are moving around you are going to start to descend towards you. And I think I need a Constitution saving throw. Nope, my bad. I think right now you are just grappled, blind, and restrained. You cannot breathe. I think that's all that's happening right now. And it is on you.
So he can't shout out, right? Because so I'm assuming because he can't breathe there, or is it because they're constricting him?
I think unable to breathe is more one of those things where you can still make noise, but as your lungs are used, you're going to consume some of your ability to stay alive here. If you think yelling out is what you would do, we can certainly do that. I think it would shorten the amount of time that you would stay conscious while unable to breathe. So you've got like two kind of thoughts in mind. Everybody's right next to you. They're probably seeing all of this. They're probably ready to defend you, and you can trust in your friends. The other thing is it's entirely human to yell out at this point as well.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll put it behind a roll because Jarek is like claustrophobic, so he might, So I'm just gonna do like a wisdom roll. I'm gonna say like above 10 he won't shout out, and below 10 he does shout out, even though it's probably not the best thing to do. Okay, so he manages to keep his mouth shut. Knowing, kind of, he knows they're right behind him. He didn't go scouting out ahead, so they'll, hopefully they're right behind him. They'll come to his rescue, and I think he's just going to, as best he can, try to slash himself out of these vines.
So you can try to like cut your way out is effectively just trying to like kill the thing. Otherwise you can try to like fight your way out of the grapple, which is essentially just an escape PC.
Yeah, I was thinking more cutting, so attacking. Yeah.
Yeah, so you are at disadvantage at present as you are grappled and restrained. You cannot get your sneak attacks here, but you can otherwise make your attacks at that disadvantage.
All right. Yeah, so he's slashing out with the cutlass style. I don't know why I always think of a cutlass as like more like a, but yeah, so he's stabbing out with that.
Gotcha. The first one is how to describe a miss when you're inside of something. I think the first one you're just going to feel that kind of like slide against the edge of something as if you were parallel to it rather than perpendicular. Second one's going to be a solid hit for 8.
And if he can kind of essentially grab and draw now his short sword and stab out with that,
100%.
so we'll do that.
Another solid hit as you like go to like stab towards something and you feel that initial bit of the bark kind of grabbing before you push through for another 7.
And I think that is gonna be it for him. Can't move. Yep, that's all for Jarek.
Gotcha. So this was effectively a surprise. We are Zaps. Your turn is coming, going. You can now react to things, and it's going to kind of like flow down the line here as we have Terran Island doing the same. As this is all kind of happening at once here, and then at the start of this vine creature's turn, I need a Constitution saving throw from Jarek. And it is going to deal 19, half, 8, 9 damage to you. I don't think it matters for you, but that's bludgeoning damage.
All right, and that is that'll take him to bloodied.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that's probably just like more signs of blood covering these vines that are lashing around where you know Jarek to be, than that you guys can actually see Jarek right now. From this point, it is going to lash out. Two of these vines are going to reach out towards Island. The first one with a 10 will miss. The second one, as a 21, is going to smash into Island, and this is going to deal 13 bludgeoning damage to you, and Island will be grappled where he is at. And then it is back to you, Jarek.
Yeah, I think Jarek is for now just still slashing out at it. After he's gonna kind of like with a surge of adrenaline, like wanting to escape, he's gonna second wind. Oof. And then just essentially stab out twice with the his sword.
The first one is going to have a similar feel. Second one will do the same. Each of these, you're almost like raking against the feel of this creature. You can feel it like cutting off like tiny little like shoots almost. But you can also like feel the sense. You're not cutting into anything vital as you're lashing out here. And now we are going to go to Zaps.
All right. So Zap seeing him getting him caught up. I am going to cast Scorching Ray. Actually, wait, hold on. I can cast Hex as a bonus action, right?
Offhand, I'm pretty sure Hex is a bonus action.
It is. So bonus action, hexing the plant dude. So that will, and I can use that once per day.
That's no save right now. That's just a plus damage for you, right? When you hit it.
Yep, I do an additional 1d6.
Excellent. And then you are going to blast it with Scorching Ray.
Oh yeah, all 3 rays going at that thing. Sorry, hold on. Let me actually.
It's another spell where you want to click it 3 times. Make sure it doesn't use 3 spell slots. What chosen ability are you hexing on it?
Hold on. I don't. Also one ability when you cast. Also choose one of the. Oh, dude, grapple checks.
Strength checks.
Yeah, strength check for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna make this thing rot and get weak. So that is a natural 20 on the first one. And those are all going through the firearm, by the way.
I think you can only do it one. Isn't it one attack?
Yeah, I get to add it to 1 damage die of the spell. So,
Yeah. So it's not all of them.
yeah, just the first one. So 17, 22, 24, 33, 36 points of damage. Oh, and I need to roll a
All right. So 2d6 for the first one and a d8. Or a 2d6 and 2d8 for the first one.
Just additional on top of what it's rolled.
Yeah, like right now you're about to roll a total of 4d6 and 2d8. You just hexed it and hit it 3 times.
Okay, so the 4d6 totaled up to 11, and the 2d8 totaled up to 12.
All right, so 17, 24, 33, 36, and then another 23 for 59.
Yes, sir. And then I'm also going. Oh, wait, I can't. Yeah, I can't command my little dude without my bonus action, so he's just going to kind of do his thing. So yeah, that's going to be my turn. And Zaps is basically just going to go, oh, fucking shit, oh shit, and just blast it.
All right, so you are going to see as these rays slam into this creature, there is a loud kind of like sizzling sound. And as they kind of burn into the creature, there is going to be kind of like a grayish white smoke that kind of ascends from these points where all of these rays hit. And then it is going to go to Taryn. What would you like to do, sir?
Well, I would still like to go for the vines holding Jarek. Yes.
Like you're just trying to attack them? Or are you trying to help him break out?
I'm gonna try to help him break out.
All right, so you can give him advantage on his check. And any bonus action?
Can I bonus action just attack? Or would that?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Two-Handed Fighter says that when you take the attack action, you can use your bonus action like that. I don't think you have a bonus action here. So unless you notice something, it'll go to Island. Oh, and I'm also assuming that you're taking the time to like almost like yell encouragements to Jarek, so Justin knows
Yeah, basically, yes.
to try to break out as well.
Justin, like, I'm. No, Justin, I was saying the wrong. Jarek, I'm trying to get you out. Power through it. I'll help you.
And then Island, what would you like to do?
I'm just gonna fire off guiding bolt, whatever it is that's got him grappled. Just gonna fight back. And I think he'll do that through using his weapon as a focus.
Yeah, effectively at this point, that mace is now your spell focus.
Uh-oh, I might have done that twice, sorry.
So it will hit, and the 22 should be the extra +1. Oh, what a shit roll! 2 1s. So a total of 23.
Yeah, okay. And then I would cast Spiritual Weapon. It's my bonus action.
You cannot
So
cast
just
Virtue
cast it.
Weapon at
I
this
just
point.
get to cast a full spell. So, how far away is Jarek?
What are you thinking for? I think you are potentially further away, but you're probably close to. I think you're actually close to him. The two of you are leaving here.
Yeah, we're in the front. I'm thinking just casting Healing Word for my bonus action.
Same thing. I don't think you have a bonus action once you've cast a spell as your main action.
Oh yeah, right. Because I didn't cast a cantrip. That's all I got. A lot of screaming, swearing, frustration, and that's it.
Gotcha. Let me get a Constitution saving throw from Jarek, please. And that was 16, 8 more bludgeoning damage as it cinches down on you. And it is going to lash vines out at Terran. The first one, I think a 13 is a miss with Terran. And then the second one should hit. And that will grapple Terran and do 10 bludgeoning damage to you. And then that takes us to Jarek. What would you like to do?
Yeah, so is Jarek kind of muffled, probably through like the vines wrapping around him, but he can hear Taryn, and he's not having much luck stabbing this thing anyway, so he's going to just attempt to kind of almost like maybe try and like grab a couple of vines and just get him off him long enough for him to like burst free. He's going to essentially try to escape the grapple if he can.
Gotcha. You currently have the help action from Terran for just that action. You have advantage, and it is currently hexed. You're gonna get out of there, I'm pretty sure.
It's a strength athletics, right? Or is
Yeah.
that a
No,
actually
that's
if it was
correct.
okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of break free. I'm gonna action surge as I get out with like some adrenaline and turn back around and stab out at it, attack it twice.
This first attack will have advantage. Solid strike into it for. Now this you can have sneak attack on. So for 10
Two.
here. The second attack will hit for another 9.
And he's just like as he's doing this, he's just kind of like looking around, trying to locate Island and the others. But otherwise, he is.
So while you look around, you can see that at present there are vines wrapped around Island, there are vines wrapped around Terran, and when you are able to spot Zaps, you see that Zaps is currently the only one who is not kind of in the process of this thing wrapping around it.
Yeah, so he'll like be shouting like stay clear, stay back. But that's his turn.
Gotcha. So as you are pulling those vines away with the help of Terran and kind of leaping out to like slash into them, 2 of those large main vines are going to be like almost cut off kind of towards like a stump, like beginning of this creature where the vines just seem to be like a thicker nest. Effectively, this is signs that you guys can see that this creature is significantly damaged at this point, but it is going to go to Zaps as you see the return of Jarek into view. What are you doing?
I am going to hit it with a firebolt, aiming right at that big old mass you were just talking about.
Gotcha. You can shoot another firebolt into it. Let's see that spell attack.
Eey, that sucks.
It's just going to kind of pass beyond as the vines are like wrenching and twirling. It just seems to pass like through all of these things and kind of pass into the jungle behind. You're gonna hear it eventually kind of hit and sizzle. Probably doesn't even really register in the heat of the battle. It is otherwise going to go to Terran. Theoretically,
I'm going to use my bonus action to have my little flamethrower buddy get at it.
gotcha. Dexterity save on it, flaming.
Yeah. So it takes 2d8, half that if it saves. The save is a 14. So that would be 9. And does it get the hex damage as well, since it's technically me?
That doesn't really feel technically you. Isn't it something else?
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like you are you. Anything that is aside from you is something else. You are going to see far more smoke kind of sizzling off of this thing, but the fire does hit it.
All right. So it'll do that 9, and I'm going to just kind of stay where I'm at.
It's going to go for Terran here. Got Jarek outside of the vines. It is currently now wrapped around you and you cannot move. Are you going to start to stab at it?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna do just that. Try to hit the vines, see if I can do some damage.
Solid hits there. Both of those are going to connect. The first one's dealing 27, second one's dealing another 7. Anything else for you as you're kind of like just stabbing into this thing repeatedly?
No, don't think so. I can't move or anything, right?
Currently, no.
Yeah, no, then that's all I can do.
As Terran starts like stabbing into these vines, you can see with like each movement as it's trying to like get out of his way or try to wrap a little bit deeper into you, Terran, you're seeing like massive like fonts of like this greenish black ichor like spurting out of these vines and kind of like dripping down into this ground. This thing is definitely severely wounded at this point. Island, what are you doing, sir?
I was gonna fire off Toll the Dead.
As you ring the bell, there's going to seemingly be no effect upon this creature. And you're currently grappled. Bonus action?
I'm sorry, did you want a Constitution saving throw?
No, I was asking if you wanted to bonus action.
No, I'm gonna hold.
Gotcha. It is again going to lash out into. Oh, this one is at Zaps. So the first one should hit with a 20.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to do 17 bludgeoning to you. And the second one should miss. As we add zaps to those who are now grappled. Jarek, you see that all of your friends are kind of encircled by these vines. You've cut off some of the larger ones. This creature is severely injured, but what will you do to save your friends?
Yeah, Jarek lets out a curse as he kind of sees him wrapping around the last of his companions, and he's just going to be like shouting like, "Hey, hang on," and he's going to just start stabbing at it, trying to hopefully finish it off here. Yeah.
Now with rolls like that,
So,
bonus action.
can I use inspiration on that second one?
How many do you want to pump into it? I think I've got you at 8.
I'm going to use 3. Turn that into a 15.
Gotcha. And with that, can you describe how you kill this massive grouping of vines?
I think just like as he sees them, they're wrapped around Island, they're wrapped around Taryn, they're wrapping around Zaps. He's just like, he kind of stabbing blindly. So like the first one misses, the second one he feels it like it almost seems like it's gonna miss, but then like as it's like sliding in, it seems to like hit into something a little more solid, almost like and like all of a sudden just going to be like kind of like almost like a shutter, like the vines that are wrapped around the others almost kind of like shutter, like a almost like a something like passing through them, and they're going to start to kind of slowly relax, like, or not constricting them anymore, and then I think they'll just sort of like slough off them. Yeah.
Yeah, so like many of these vines are going to seemingly go limp in that they are no longer constricting around you and no longer grappling you guys into place. What I would say would probably be a little bit different is they are very quickly hardening. So over the next few minutes, you guys can like clear yourselves of these vines. But as this thing died, the kind of natural tendency for these to be like solid like wood almost, and the springiness of the vine returns pretty quickly. But yeah, you guys are effectively in that kind of same position. A lot of the vines around you, within moments of kind of making this escape, you can't help but think that vine was moving moments ago and still like kind of side of your eye, like looking back towards it. But this has kind of a new sense of the living plants and the meaning of such things in a place where an entire city is covered in like this refuse of vines, now that you've seemingly fought off vines that would ambush you.
Yeah, Jarek is like, once they're free, he's like urging them all, like, back. Let's get back. To be, you know, uh, he's suddenly much less eager to explore that southern building.
Well, I don't know about you all, but I'm gonna have a hell of a time sleeping now after that bullshit.
Oh,
I hate the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be sleeping the same. This isn't the first time we were attacked by vines and flowers. It's horrifying, but yeah.
It's like a T-Rex is scary, but a 50-foot T-Rex is really scary. Just some vines. We almost died. Not the worst. Are we not going in the building? Like after all that, we fought all that, and we're not going in there? We don't think it's a temple, right, Jarek?
I'm just worried that it's one of those things. There could be more of them.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure there's more of them. Just where they are is the mystery, right?
I'm gonna walk up to Jarek as they're talking that and cast a second level Cure Wounds on him. So you're gonna get 16 back.
Nice.
All right. And yeah, that'll Jarek is no longer bloodied.
Well, you know there's lots of shit out in this jungle. Doesn't mean we shouldn't go try to find this building. Let's get at it. Or we haven't seen the building to the south yet, so we don't know if it is or isn't a temple, correct?
Yeah, that was kind of like within moments of actually trying to clear in that direction to get towards that other building. You basically found that you were like clearing out the center of some sort of vine creature.
And Jarek will he'll thank Zaps for the healing. He'll kind of looking towards the Zaps and Island and Terrence. He'll offer as well to if anyone needs patching up. If anyone looks as hurt as he was looking.
I got a cure wounds for you too. You still look a little rough to me. But no, I'm good.
All right, so Jarek will kind of like take a deep breath, looking back south at like kind of the massive now hardened vines, and all right, we guess we can continue on.
As we make our way south, Zaps is like hyper vigilant now. Every time one of the vines or something moves, you kind of see him twitch a little bit.
Taryn, except well, we wouldn't know about Taryn because Taryn's got the 10-foot pole thing right now with his rings.
Yeah, that's true.
He essentially use it to like kind of like poking it forward with the idea maybe like doesn't know how like intelligent these vines are, but if there are more like active vines, maybe they would like instinctively attack if he like uses that almost kind of like to kind of poke in front before they move to like slash down the. I don't know if it'll work, but
So you're asking Taryn, can you aggravate the vine creature?
Yeah, as we're making our way south, let's wave this 10-foot pole in front of us and poke the fucker. I mean, it's a good idea, though, really.
I mean the other idea is to like try and just have Zaps continuously casting firebolt and like
My
burning away the vine.
There's no limit to how much fire that cannon can produce. I'm just saying. I can do it in like every 6 seconds. So if you really want me to go full flamethrower on this fucking thing, I don't see why we can't.
You guys are in a rainforest, bro. You can't burn down a rainforest.
Yeah, that's true.
You were burning down cobwebs inside of a stone structure before.
And the sword will give me warning at least. So
Are you volunteering to walk in front then?
That's what I
suppose
heard.
I am.
You're a good man. I like your talking sword. I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled and I'll step behind you. But let's go. Which direction? I feel like we're missing gaps in the city. There are blocks we're not covering. I'd hate to have to come all the way back. Where do you guys want to go look next?
Well, I sounds like we want to try and still get inside this building here that we were to the south. Try and
It doesn't look like a temple to me, so I think I'm good. I think that's my perception, is that it's not a temple from all the descriptions we've done. I just want to find, when we have to find 9 temples, we found 4.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, if we don't want to search this one, we do have the one was south to us before, on the other side of the highway. But I feel like we should at least look at what this is. It's a possible temple, at least.
Yeah, I'm with Taryn on this one. Even if there's a slim chance, we got a lot of ground to cover no matter what. Be thorough.
Possible temple sounds good to me.
Take about 15 or 20 minutes to clear it out and look through. Roll a D100 for me, Taryn. Do we have Island and Jarek leading forward into this temple? Or is it...
Yeah, I think Jarek's back at the front. The idea that the sword will at least give some warning if they run into more vines or something.
Is Island at his side?
Yeah, like a one step back, but yes.
Gotcha. I mean, you guys can't remove yourself from being in threat. You're in a campaign designed to kill players. So,
I got my survival. I'm just trying to be in the front with my survival instincts.
I rolled dice
Open.
to see what the creatures attack. So the fact that you're trying to put 5 feet of Jarek in front of you doesn't actually make a creature less likely to attack you. So as you push forward here, it's not going to take you too long to cut through to where you see that there is a stone wall in front of you. Sending Taryn up top and into it, he can kind of quickly find that moving across and into this building more towards the sagittal, the inner parts of it, still on top of it, there's give in the vines. After a few moments kind of looking down, you can see that these vines have grown over a courtyard, and there is a certain amount of evidence that this is a walled courtyard, and there's the building right here. After probably about 20 or so minutes of clearing away some of the space, you guys can find that it does indeed have an entryway with 2 columns. On each one, you see a small little creature that's kind of leaned back on these big muscular back legs, and as it stands up with 2 little paws kind of held at its chest, it has a spear-like antler that kind of sticks out of the top of its forehead, almost as tall as it is tall. And each of these statues flank this side entryway, and you guys have indeed found the Temple of... Do you know this god yet?
No, it's the Almirage. Can't remember the name.
It is indeed. This is the Temple of Ijin. So at present, we basically have you all with a sense that you've got this entry part of the courtyard has a little bit more space to it. The back had... Oh, realistically, this one backs right up against it. The back is basically kind of like a short structure, about 2 stories tall. It seems to be kind of solid stone in a half of a cube. And then the front kind of has a diagonal, narrowing that comes back to a little bit of a rectangle, making something relative to kind of like a spear tip, as if you guys were walking in the entryway through the tip, and the back of the shrine was the kind of staff side of it. I hope that's not a terrible way of describing, but this is kind of what you guys would see from the front of the building.
Zaps is kind of gonna bump Island in the knee. See, I told you. Look.
Nice. Highland's a little distracted by the statues, trying to make a sketch and remember how they look.
See any writing on there, Island? And Jarek will maybe looking at the other one, trying to see if he sees any old Omoan like we've seen on some of the others.
Who'd you say it to? You said that to Island?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me get Island and Jarek to do a perception. So Island, looking at the kind of front entryway, you can see kind of like um bas relief works for it, but where it's like sculpted out from it. I want to say it's the facade, but I feel like that's more Greek. Bas relief works. But you see this like rabbit with its kind of spear shaped unicorn horn, and it seems to be chasing. You can see the legs are in this like running motion where those big, strong back legs are almost like pointed back behind it, and its front paws are kind of reached all the way out in front of it. And in front of this creature, over top the entryway, you see these signs of. I need to remember which creature it is.
It was enemies with the Oblaka, right? The
Yeah, my bad. It is chasing after. I don't know how you can see like a feral looking bear with short, sharp claws, is how they describe it. But I think you guys can kind of figure out that it is like the koala bear looking creature with those big, massive claws that you all have encountered. So you've got this Almirage chasing after Ublaka was the god, but I forget what the creatures are called too. Not a big deal. But you see that kind of like picture. Do you want to look closer at it?
Totally.
You guys can see with a closer investigation some of the cuneiform here. Let me have Island roll an investigation here. You're getting better at translating things. This doesn't take you much more than a minute or so to start to translate the message, where you basically begin to understand that it references I Ching teaches us to take the path least expected.
Hmm. Take the path least expected. Don't be a koala bear with big claws running away from a rabbit with a spear in its forehead. Everybody copy all that?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Zaps is going to kind of wander over to the entrance of this thing. He's not going in, but he's definitely trying to like look down the hall and see what's going on.
Looking down into the hall, you can see some like sandstone tiles that make up this entryway, and they all seem to have animals kind of carved into them in representation. Roll a perception check for me.
Am I in direct sunlight?
At present, yes, but you're not looking into direct sunlight, so just do a normal roll.
All right, that is going to be a 5.
I feel like one of the things for like when a roll is me interpreting how well you do something, it's silly to make stuff like that happen when it's like as a time expenditure you can simply like step up to the door's edge and like look in. There's certain things where it's like this isn't a fail possibility, this is just an interpret like kind of what the dice are saying something is. um yeah, so you can spot pretty quickly that there's 4 different animal heads on the entryway. You're not really able to make out any more. Perhaps they're covered in dust, perhaps they're covered in vines. Um, but like very quickly upon kind of approaching and looking in with that first glance, you're going to see signs that there is indeed some sort of symbols here. And if you give me one moment here, I'm about to pop up a handout for you all. So that should have just popped up for you. That's the wrong orientation. It's
Should be
got to lay
vertical.
Yeah, it should be vertical. You are basically looking from the right into the left right now.
So the rightmost ones are the first steps that we would see.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
So we could choose the rabbit spear in its forehead for step 1. And then something else, but that might be too obvious.
Yeah, it said he teaches us to take the path less, well, basically like the unexpected path. So Ejin chased after the koala bear.
Sorry to interrupt. Did it just change for all of you? Is it now vertical?
Yep.
Excellent.
Well, the only way, like, through the first 4 rows is I'm not sure what it is, the boar, I guess. The second one from the left, third one from the left in the second row. That's interesting. There's 4 boar options in the first 4 sections.
How big is each tile? Could we essentially try to jump from one to another, skipping a row?
I believe these are all 5-foot squares. So this hallway, this hallway is 20 something feet into the gloom that you're looking. Assuming you guys light it all up, you can see that it is wall to wall, like about 20 feet, and into the gloom and beyond, it's like 25, 30 feet before you can see tiles that don't appear to have animals on them.
So here's a thought, guys. Seeing this, would Zaps have any idea that these things are probably pressure plates? I don't know that they are. I'm just taking a guess.
Do you have a reason to think of them as pressure plates?
This place is filled with traps.
And you can roll a intelligence check.
Do we get to roll a check based on it says path, and we are faced with this thing, so we're trying to figure out the walking path through it? Seems...
Wait, what was your question there, Larry?
Well, it just seems like the inscription told us to take the path less obvious, and now we're faced with this. So of course, we're nervous to step on them. I feel like it's kind of obvious that stepping on them properly is the task.
That's fine. My point is if he had something creative to tell me about his past that would give him advantage, I would have given him a better
Gotcha.
roll. He did not
Gotcha.
come up with something creative, but he had a reason, and I gave him a roll. This is my classic. If you tell me that you want to roll, you can roll it. It's a higher DC. If you tell me why you're good at something, it'll get lower. If you're telling me you're just focused on one thing, very like narrow in perspective, it gets even lower. There's a range of what you guys want to do. 100%, I think Zaps has plenty of reason to have encountered enough traps to recognize that, yes, this is a trapped hallway. Whether they are pressure plates, it's hard to tell. It probably makes sense that they would be pressure plates.
I'm gonna look at Jarek Island and Terran and go, so here's a thought, guys. We all know this is probably some type of trap. Why don't we send my little flamethrower guy first and have him step on whichever plate we decide before one of us, just to kind of make sure?
I mean, do you think it's heavy enough to make a difference? I'm not sure how heavy
I
it
mean,
is
he's
though.
made out of wood and metal, so yeah, he's pretty heavy. I
Did
think
we
that
hear? Did we hear a story at some point um, about one of the creatures, the mythical creatures, carrying another one? I mean, I remember the Crocodile and Man challenge was about that, but was there anything else that we've heard? Because it kind of rings a bell with me that there's some nine god stories there. Anybody? Am I crazy? All right. Well, if that's not ringing any bells, maybe it's the Crocodile and Man that I'm stuck on from 6 months ago. So you want to
Yeah.
send your little guy out there, and you think your little guy will do. What happens if he gets blown up?
I can just remake him. That's crazy of a
Oh,
deal. Take me a little bit of
okay.
time. Yeah, no, I can basically wait till I finish a long rest and remake him, or burn a spell slot and make another one.
Do we have any ideas on what the correct path might be?
So, well, the other thing is, if you look at it, it changes throughout the whole thing. So your first row, you've got Ejin, boar, giraffe, zebra, and you've got the same thing on the second one, but the third one adds in tiger, and then I assume that's Wangu on the fourth. So it does change.
So let's recall some of those theories here from you guys. What kind of thoughts does everybody have going on? I'm actually most curious if I can ask Larry if you had any thoughts while you were away.
No, mine was boar, um, zebra, boar. I don't know. That's a theory that I have.
Gotcha. So you think of looking for a pattern in the animals that you follow.
Yeah, animals that um, might carry you.
Gotcha. We have Zaps looking to send your creature down. What were you kind of thinking as you came back from break?
My initial thought is, again, just being very careful. Try to either have the little cannon dude step on the plate first, or have Terran whack the shit out of it with a stick. I'm also going to be looking at the walls and the ceiling to see if there's anything to
I,
grab onto.
we'll get to that shortly here. That'll be to a roll. And then, Jarek, when you came back from break, what sort of thoughts had you had?
Yeah, I was thinking to count up the how many times each animal appears on the tiles, and see if there's any like pattern in those. And I came up with the least common are the eagle and the monkey. There's three, appears to be three depictions of each of them, and then there's four of the dragonfly, the lion, the giraffe, and the boar. Or no, the giraffe, the horse, the lion, and the dragonfly, and then five of the El Mirage and five of the boar. I was thinking maybe least expected might, well, it could, least could be referring to, the least common uh, animals.
And then, Taryn, what had you come up with from the break?
Yeah, from the break I had to check my notes and seeing like the legends and seeing like the Almarai uh, said recklessness was a virtue, and then from uh, just in telling like he counted the tiles or the which animals, I noticed that the left one was the only one that didn't repeat an animal. So I'm kind of well, I'm curious about that path at least.
What if we combine those two theories and see if we? Well, that's probably too far actually, because there's
What were you thinking?
if we just like the left path because there's only one of each animal, and then try and do the monkey and the eagle because they appear the least amount of times in overall. But it looks like that would be like a 25-foot jump, probably more than we can manage.
I mean, Zaps has Misty Step. Theoretically, I mean, as long as this thing's only 25 foot long, I can just port past it if there's not any magic that's going to smack the hell out of me for it. But that does nothing for you guys. I could try to do that and see if there's a switch or something to turn them off, but it doesn't be that easy.
While you all are mulling over your informations shared together, let me have a perception from you, Zaps, as you're kind of looking down the hall for things to grab. Do you currently have light?
Um, no, I don't. I don't have anything like prepared or anything.
Oh, I do.
Like, I mean, do you want to have light? Like, you could have a torch. Island can produce light.
No, I've got dark vision, so as long as I can see decently.
Gotcha. So, looking down into this area, you're going to notice the point where everything goes into grays and whites. You can see the difference in the actual tiling inside of this room, but you can no longer see the animals' faces. Um, and while you are looking around, the hall seems to be made of the same kind of smooth um, gray sandstone, and the tiles seem to be like a little bit lighter. Similar stone. I think the tiling is like damn, I guess marble is kind of the thing. Like it's a little bit different hardness, kind of smoothness.
Okay, and do I have a feel of like how far away the different tiles are?
What do you mean there? We're still going with these are 5 foot tiles. So like if you're it's basically like a 5 foot movement from the center of one tile to the next. 40 feet down the hallway. Um, yeah, you can't even really see beyond where everybody else, like, effectively, you can't tell where these animals end. Like, if there's any beyond this at present.
Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking. Um, I have a way I can let one of us pretty much bypass this thing if we want to try it, but I don't know what's going to happen if we do. So that's up to you guys. And if we do, who are we going to do that to?
Just worried if we get one if we even if we were able to have one person try and bypass it, then they're stuck on their own, and there's something waiting for us on the other side. They're kind of SOL.
Yeah, that's also my thing. Um, yeah, let's just send it.
The other thing I'm thinking is if we maybe we try to stick to the eagle and the monkey tiles because again, those are the ones that appear the least.
So it basically went like 3, 4, 5, right? There wasn't one that had one, and there wasn't one that only had two.
Yeah, there's not one that has like fewer than all of the others. There's two that have fewer than the rest.
Okay, yeah. I'm down.
And I guess Taryn, you're probably the one going in, so it's up to whatever you think is the most likely scenario since you're our guinea pig here.
Yeah, pick a tile. I'll have the little cannon thing step on it first. Just I don't know if anything will happen or not, but if it does, we know that's not it. And if it looks safe, you can try to step on it after that.
All right, then, if I'm getting it correctly, we're trying the like least ones first.
I think the general suggestion is to the least ones.
Let
That's
me.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that's Jarek's best idea. Take that for what it's worth.
So let me know which square you want to go on to.
Well, I like Karen's idea that the left has no repeats.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I also think the numbers one has a pretty solid idea. Before we do anything, I'd say let's have the little cannon dude walk across these front four and see if it's even going to do anything.
Uh,
So
Front four on the left one, or just go forward.
just no, like this front row. I just want it to like walk across all four of them to see if it's even going to trigger anything.
But I don't think. I mean, if we're assuming it's trapped, I don't think we want to intentionally set something off.
Well,
We have no idea what it's going to be. It could,
15 fireballs down the.
well, I'm saying have everybody else back up, send little cannon dude, have it walk across and see what happens.
Um, as Zaps is talking about having the little dude walk across the front row, as Jarek says, maybe we don't want to just intentionally set things off. We know this is a trap. Eku is just going to lean down to Taryn and say, "You all have been here thinking for some time now. Have you thought to look at the trap to see what you can tell?" And she's going to cast Bless on you while inviting you to investigate the trap. You guys have not asked to see what you know about this mechanism yet.
Yeah, Zaps is going to look at her when she says that and kind of go, "Oh fuck! I can't believe I didn't think of that." Yeah, I want to try to go with Taryn and make an investigation check on this thing, or whatever check.
Yeah, Terrence just feeling like, oh shit, we're kind of stupid, aren't we? All right, yeah, let's check it out.
So, what do we need to roll?
On this one, because again, I told him this. I'm just doing Taryn. Um, as far as you guys can spend a lot of time, if he doesn't come back with anything, we can have you roll shortly here. But it's just an investigation check from Taryn. Plus a D4 with Bless. I would say with clear enough ability, you can see that all four of these front um, tiles are stationary. They are static. And immediately on the other side of it, you can see the next set are all pressure plated. And you can probably see enough into the next set, but only the center two, and see that they give off the same kind of like scent of being pressure plated. Like you can't tell from this distance, but you're pretty sure that you're about to discover that they are pressure plated in the same way. So that kind of puts you forward to with this, you can start to investigate what you might know beyond that about what you can tell. But what's kind of your initial sight as Eku does this? And you see that the first row just seems to be normal tiles. There's nothing dynamic about what you can see of those.
Well, first thought is just relaying it back to theirs, and then, I mean, if the first row is safe and then the others going out, it seems like they're pressure plates, all of them, maybe. So, yeah, there might be, I don't know.
So let's juggle the idea around to see if anybody has any thoughts, and then more or less assume that Zaps and Terran will decide like what to investigate further of what you see before you. Does anybody have like any other idea from this new information?
You said the two middle ones on the third row seem like they're pressure plated. So the eagle, the bird, and the dragonfly.
Yeah, so at this point, he can see these four plates do not appear to be pressure plated at all. And he's pretty sure these two plates, if he were closer, are indeed pressure plates as well. But basically, part of what I'm saying here is he can kind of see like that into the room right now.
To me, we can only step on the characters from the first four and the rest of it.
Ooh, hey, that's actually a really solid idea.
What are the characters in the first two rows?
Rabbit, boar, giraffe, zebra.
Was that the first or the second row?
It's the first row and the second row.
If they are repeated immediately upon the second row, perhaps they are not safe to step on. So, Zaps and Terran, how would you go about investigating further into this trap?
Well, seeing as I know the first row is safe, I would go a step in.
Gotcha. You can move yourself where you would step.
I'm gonna go in there, kind of beside him, and I'll look at the next boar plate. Can I notice if there's anything different between it and the other three? Any markings or anything like that?
I didn't actually foresee that I had to keep my cheat sheet up, so give me a second to actually bring the handout back up. What was your question about the next plate? You're looking at the,
I'm
what
gonna,
is that? Second
gonna-
one in, second from the right?
yeah, and I'm just gonna kind of scan around. I want to look at all four of them and see if there's any like markings or anything on the edges that might give away which one is safe.
Gotcha. Roll a perception check. All of their corners, their edges, all seem to be similarly the same in that they're all different, kind of erratic. I don't think you'll pull away any real information from kind of looking over their edges for one that seems different than another.
Terran is gonna transform his rings into a 10-foot pole and going from left to right, try to push down on the tiles as hard as he can with the pole. See if anything happens.
Gotcha. So which tile are you pushing down on? Right now
Uh,
you're in center, like 2 from the left, 1 in.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like second row, first from the left, starting there and then going to the right.
Gotcha. As soon as you push down into that tile, how much pressure do you push into it? Are you just kind of tapping it? Are you like pushing into it and like almost leaping up onto, like what kind of pushing are you doing?
Well, I want to simulate our weight, so I'm trying to push as hard as I can, basically.
Gotcha. Do an acrobatics check for me to see how well you can like displace your weight over onto that thing. So as you push down into this, you feel kind of the smooth moment as you're kind of like forcing your weight down, where you can feel the like release as the pressure plate gives way. Um, Roll a d10 for me. You could put it at probably about between 15 and like 35 pounds of pressure release that plate. And you could feel kind of this little bit of dissension as that pressure was taken off of it before the springing into your 10-foot pole, like that springing motion of putting more pressure on it of your body weight solidifies against whatever these, would fall into. But you can immediately hear as there's and 4 darts are going to fly across the hallway and smash against the stone wall on the east side of this wall.
All right. Fuck. That. Yeah, glad I wasn't on that tile.
Yeah, I don't think it's that one. Maybe try the zebra next. I like the pole idea. And Zaps is going to help him just push down on each one of these tiles with that pole if he needs it.
Yeah, let's go for zebra next.
Gotcha. Do another acrobatics for me. So about like 40 or so pounds, you're kind of, I think that's like most of your weight. I'm correct, like you're 60 pounds.
My weight is 40 pounds.
Oh, okay, it's 40. All right, I gotcha. So yeah, you kind of have this impression as you do this again on this one, where you kind of like feel it through, and you're pretty sure effectively, like you don't have to use the momentum of your body to force this down. It's pretty much your body, like your weight, uh, into any of these cubes seems to kind of actuate them. This one, it springs, but nothing happens.
All right, that's good so far. I'm gonna test the theory and try the 4 right in front of Saps.
Gotcha. And what are you doing this time?
Same thing, like trying to push down. This time with my weight too. Like get that
Are
to.
you simplifying it at all, or are you kind of doing the same thing where you're still like springboarding into the pole?
I think more like trying to press down and lean into it to get my weight on it. Yes, I
Gotcha.
think that.
So you can lean into this and actuate it. The moment you kind of put all of your weight into it, where you expect the mechanism to feel that like bump of release, the little bit of dissension, and from the last one, you felt kind of like a springiness to the plate almost, where it didn't seem to like descend fully. This one's going to descend like the giraffe's one, where you feel at the other side what almost like grasps the plate holding it down also seems to be another trigger mechanism. And in that same motion in your head, it'll play out like momentarily slower as you're starting to expect these two different depreciations of this tile. Where it first releases, the second time, four more darts are going to shoot across that hall and hit against the western wall this time.
Okay, so I might have figured something out here. Uh, Hear me out. If I remember correctly, well, we could just look down and see, but I think me and Sap are standing on Giraffe and Boar, or me on
That
Boar
is
and him.
correct.
And so far, the traps that have activated are on Giraffe and Boar.
That is correct.
So I'm gonna try my idea of going on the left one. If we can get Sap to back off. I mean, I saw he went to pack
He
up
stepped
first.
away. If you want to ask him to step out of the hallway, and then you're going to step onto the lefternmost one.
Yeah, gonna do that, and then I'm gonna go carefully along the left side,
So
but
I'll
not
pull Zap out of there, and you can move where you would like to here.
so from the left and just going straight. As I step onto the giraffe, does anything happen?
All right, so you stepped over onto the Almirage, and then you stepped over onto the giraffe.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah, as you step onto the giraffe, you're going to feel the pressure plate release, and nothing happens.
All right. And then take a step forward again.
As you step onto this, I need a dexterity saving throw from you.
Ah, fuck.
So did I just hear that right? The one he already triggered, he stepped on it again and it didn't do anything?
When we had you leave the temple, and then he stepped over onto the Almirage and then onto the giraffe. He basically stepped over there from the boar. And when he stepped on the giraffe, nothing happened. When you step onto the boar, you are going to feel the like glint of these blades as something is going to shoot out at you. Are you going to evade it? I think your evasion just happens, right?
Yeah, evasion. When you're subjected to an effect that allows you to dex saving throw to take only half damage, you instead take no damage if you succeed, and half damage on fail. That's what I have.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
it's
psych!
a
These are
passive
Constitution
ability.
saving throws. Your con modifier is definitely not high enough. Your dexterity was not high enough. Oh, my bad though. These are Constitution saving throws. You are going to take 3 poison damage and 8. Wait, 3 piercing damage and 8 poison damage. Nope, 5 poison damage. When 3 of these darts come out from the left side of the hall and just like lodge right into your body.
All right, fuck, there went my idea.
You might be on the right path. Perhaps you simply can't have anybody step on the same animal more than once.
Oh right, and I started from the boar.
The zebra
Everything.
and the zebra didn't trigger, right?
So here's the other thing. He whacked the giraffe with the stick, stepped on it again, and the darts didn't come out. So really, if we wanted to, he could one of us could just whack the tile with the stick and go that way. They don't trigger twice.
Well, we don't know that. It could be because because when he did the giraffe,
You had just been standing on it in row 1 when he went through it in row 2. I feel like
I'm
the
thinking, is there
pairing
a
is
way
part of it.
through here with each row that we only step on each animal one time and go that way?
Feel like somebody noticed that exact route.
Yeah, Taryn had that route and he's on it on the left side.
Maybe if you just, I don't know if this, you tell if it resets, but essentially just leave and then go with your initial idea and just straight up the left side.
Zaps is gonna walk forward and step on the giraffe one directly behind Taryn.
All right, what are you stepping on as you enter into this hallway?
I'm gonna step on the boar that I originally stepped on, and then go sideways onto the giraffe. Sorry, I'm gonna
You're
go
going
on.
on
I'm gonna go onto the boar and then onto the
as
giraffe
soon as
behind
you
Taryn.
step onto the boar. Taryn, roll a Constitution saving throw.
God fuck damn it!
Oh fuck!
You are going to take 3 piercing damage and 1 poison damage as the moment Zap starts to walk back into this room, 4 more darts right into your flesh from the right side of this cavern.
Okay, so before I even go to the giraffe, I'm going to just fucking stop.
I get kind of scared there. I thought you went back to the boar again. I was like, ah, god damn it.
Nope. Yeah, I'm just gonna fucking stop because the first row was supposed to be safe.
I think we need to have maybe just one person in there at a time. And I think Taryn had the right idea the first time. If we think we can only step on each animal once and each animal doesn't repeat on the left side, just have one person go, then next person go, but wait until.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, Terran is by now not gonna stand on the boar anymore. He's just gonna sprint out straight upwards. Does anything happen as I sprint through?
My bad, I'm just trying to think real quick. Roll a acrobatics save or acrobatics check for me, please.
I mean, I'm rolling good today. I mean, I had one good. Then it went downhill fast.
You're pretty quick. You're pretty light on your toes as you're running down these. Um, I feel like you have enough of a sensation that all of these tiles are moving with every single step that you run down this way. But you make it to the end. Do you think you had your rings glowing? I guess realistically, when you get to the where it starts to get darker than not, are you going to turn on your rings?
Yeah, if it's gonna get harder to see, I'm gonna turn on the rings.
So I think arriving at the end of the hallway, seemingly nothing having happened to you, you're going to see a wall ahead of you that seems to kind of have a opening that you could continue off in that direction, or there's enough evidence to see that there seems to be a hall that goes to the right as well. So while we give you a chance to take that in, the others could probably see at least a little bit of those actual walls start to become illuminated as you see Terran run directly down that left side of this room, and nothing apparently happening to him.
Okay. I'm just going to do the same thing that Taryn did and have the cannon follow behind me. I'm going to make one left hand step and then go straight forward.
As
All right,
Sap is doing
where are
that,
you stepping onto the Amrish?
Yep.
What were you thinking, Terran? Like, he's pretty
I
much
think,
following you in that same time frame here.
yeah, I figured that. But do I have moments to spare to see him going from the board and forward? Like, do I see him
Let me
start
get
moving?
initiative from the two of you. Yeah, so like as you run down this hallway, you can see as Zaps is preparing to follow you down the hall. But yeah, you're kind of in the process of clearing this hallway. You can certainly notice that Zaps appears to be following you exactly.
Yeah, I'm just calling back. Saps, look at it. I did the mistake of starting on the board. Don't make my same mistake. Like, God reset it. And tried. So when I got to the second
Chaotic
floor, I got
evil.
stuck.
Chaotic evil. If you want to test your theory, let him go. And if he gets shot on the board, then you know.
I mean, I am not an evil character, and I'm pretty sure I tested it myself, so he doesn't have to do my mistakes.
So what kind of thought crosses your mind as he hollers this back to you, Zaps?
Okay. So I can't, if I'm following his theory, I can't step on the board.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to step up to the giraffe. I'm going to say this just because I'm fucking brutally honest and I hate myself for it. I stepped on the fucking giraffe the first time we entered the room. So what happens?
You step onto the giraffe, almost like expecting yourself to get shot. And as you step onto it, you have a little bit of a recognition that perhaps you don't understand how this trap is working, but nothing happens.
Okay. I'm going to take a right hand kind of chatty corner and step onto the eagle.
Step onto it, nothing happens.
Okay, same thing. I'm going to go over here to the dragonfly.
Step onto it, nothing happens.
Okay, going to go monkey.
You step on, nothing happens.
Going to go zebra.
You step on, nothing happens.
Tiger, and then no matter what, I've stepped on every one of those. So something's going to happen when I step on the next one. I'm going to let Taryn know that too. I'm going to pretty much yell out and be like, I think I fucked up. I stepped on every one of these animals in front of me. Something's about to happen. Just get ready for it. And I'm just going to haul ass as hard as I can over across the eagle. Just like try to sprint past that fucking thing.
Gotcha. So you are going to run across, and as you get to Terran, and you kind of look at him with a smug look on your face, like you beat this thing, your body's gonna start to feel. I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Actually, hold on.
Uh,
I'm going. Hold on, I have a thing. I'm going to use one of my flashes of genius and add 3 to that roll. So that'd be a
aren't
13.
those on checks, not saving throws?
Ability check or saving throw.
Gotcha. And what is it? It adds 3 to it?
Yeah, it adds my intelligence modifier to it.
Gotcha. So you are going to take 2 piercing and 9 poison damage as you feel this kind of like slow sense of, with the adrenaline gone, the pain is entering, and it's almost like 4 little like kind of like needles, kind of darts that are inside of your neck that you just kind of pluck out, almost like you met a porcupine. What are, I guess technically we didn't include the idea of what is your little miniature doing, what is Island doing, and what is Jarek doing?
Uh,
I would say to Jarek, do you think he could have jumped over that last one?
I think our best bet might be to just follow Taryn's path. If we can step from the entrance directly starting on that leftmost tile and then up the line one at a time. I think that's what I'm going to
I'm with you.
try.
Yeah, no, that seems right to me too.
Just wait until I can go first and test it, but just wait until I reach the other side before you come in after me.
Gotcha. So we're crossing into the Almirage and then going.
Yeah, if I can step kind of directly on there without stepping on the boar first, on that first row.
And as you take each of these steps, are you like calm and collected? Are you like pompous and like sure of yourself? Or are you pretty afraid of what these darts feel like?
I think he's like flinching as he lands with each step because he thinks maybe he's right, but he's not. Definitely not 100%.
Gotcha. So you can follow down this hall, and with each of these steps, that little bit of a flinch, and the next one, it never comes. Stepping forward, and it never comes. And eventually, unless you change anything on your way to this other side of this hall, you will arrive at the other 2 people, nothing ever having happened.
He'll let out like a deep breath, and then kind of call back to Island. I think that's the way to go. If same thing.
And do you now have a torch with you? I feel like you pretty regularly light torches.
Yeah, I think as I went in, I would have lit one up. Yeah, sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Oh, you're good. Island, as you cross, what kind of thoughts does Island have?
He's a little more confident, like he thinks he understands it, and he's going to take each step. But it's, they're cautious steps. He's definitely ready to get smacked in the face.
Gotcha. Yeah, so the same level of, there's certainly a thought to the danger. Walking down, having seen Jarek, it's a little bit easier to be confident, and you can arrive at the other end with nothing having happened. What are you going to do with the cannon?
Cannon is I made a tiny one. It's like the hand-sized one, so I'll just carry it with me whenever I move.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I just had it with me. Just move the little bastard up there.
So you all have a hallway that opens up to the right, a hallway that opens up to the north and your left. As you kind of look around this area, it is still kind of the 2 different types of like sandstones, the gray walls, and the kind of slightly lighter floors. And what would you like to do?
Uh,
I'm going to cast light on my mace. and then just apologize for cutting off Zaps.
Just gonna tell you guys, I'm bloody. So
Jarek will kind of turn to him, he'll like kind of maybe hand the torch off to Aaron to hold for a second, and he'll pull out. You'll see kind of him rummaging in his pack. He'll pull out a kind of like a kit, and he'll start tending to Zaps, and he's going to use his healer's kit. That should heal you for 14.
yeah, I'm good. I am no longer bloody.
And Island's going to walk over to Taryn and reach out a hand and cast a Cure Wounds on him.
Thanks.
Thanks for going first.
I mean, it's kind of my job. Being small and, well, my skill set, so.
So left or right, guys? It looks like there might be some cobwebs to the right or something.
Yeah, I mean, right is usually right, but I'm thinking left this time.
After you, Taryn.
All right then. And Terrence starts moving forward.
Jarek will be kind of planning on following about 10 feet behind him.
Gotcha. So when you approach where Island was, you'll see that you can already see like a little bit of a zigzag to that hallway. So you can continue down following that like right turn. It's going to turn left. Eventually, if you get around to that corner, your rings are probably shedding just enough light that you can see that there is a right or a left turn from around that corner. About 20 feet ahead of you, Taryn.
Yeah, just relayed by. There's a corner over here we can. Oh, corner. There's a right and a left turn we can take over here. Where do you think we should go first, right or left?
The less obvious path still, do you think? Left each time.
All right, left it is, and Terrence start taking the left turn.
Gotcha. So spinning around the hallway, you can see that there is a way the other direction. Pretty much immediately turns off to the right. Down ahead of you, there seems to be evidence of a turn to the right, to the west.
All right, I'll just keep moving.
Roll a dexterity saving throw for me, please. So while you kind of investigate down along this hall and kind of see it's kind of opening up and continuing to kind of swirl about before you come to a dead end, you kind of have this sense here that this is a part of what to expect, and you're just kind of like a little bit of extra space between how you're doing things. Getting towards the end of this hallway, you can put your foot down onto one of these tiles, and just with a little bit of effort, pressing down onto it, you can feel that this plate is moving. My bad. That was me trying to say that, like, as you come to this dead end, you kind of feel that there's a trap just ahead of you.
All right,
I'll
so
be
I
right back.
feel it. So I feel the pressure plate, and then sensing like there's a trap ahead. So I'm just gonna back up a little bit.
Gotcha. Just leave it be.
Yeah, at the moment, yes. Hey guys, there's a trap over there, and seems to be a dead end. So I think we should explore the other areas first, and then if we don't find anything, I guess we can go back here.
And Taryn, yeah, maybe keep an eye out for any more of those pressure plates.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn off my lights so I can get the pole. So yeah, I'm gonna keep pushing this in front of me, just for safety.
Well, we
I
don't
think I
know.
vaguely. My bad. You want to share that real quick, Justin?
I was gonna say I don't know if we want to, because not all the traps might be those darts. I mean, I don't know if we want to press every tile. I was thinking more like kind of like just be, move slowly and carefully and kind of check the, if Taryn can kind of, if there's any way to tell whether one might be pressure plated or not before we move. Or
That was
sorry,
kind of
go
what I
ahead.
wanted my pole for, so I could press down a bit, see if it gives.
Oh, like when it starts to give. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
I was vaguely trying to decide what level of that transmutation would take away the light from you. As far as I'm concerned, you can keep it as effectively that is now like a glowing 10-foot pole. So you still have like effectively you're still like bubble of light.
Huh. All right. I'll keep that. Yeah. So I'll
I,
start. Oh,
I
sorry.
really like the idea of a rogue who's like a lightning bug. Just like I'm over here, like with the light on, and then you disappear as you put the light out, and then all of a sudden you're like on the other side of the room, stabbing them in the throat. How are you going to progress forward here?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going north instead, and like a bit more slowly this time, taking my time. Just the tunnels that I'm gonna step on, basically. Just press down a bit to see if they give.
Gotcha. So a much slower kind of progression through here to give yourself kind of a sense of what kind of wily things Ijin might have waiting for you. Let me have you roll a investigation with advantage here. So you can kind of continue on. This hallway turns to the right, beyond, like right beyond where you're at, and starts to head off towards the north. Arriving at the north, you see that there's a way to the left that seems to start to wind down to the south, and a way off to the east that also seems to wind down to the south.
Both going south. I'm confused.
Effectively, you are finding yourself at a T where one goes to your right and then starts to go down, one goes to the left and then starts to go down.
Oh, all right. I missed that first part, basically.
My
Oh,
bad. So you can kind of see that each one is kind of like that.
oh, all right. We gone left, left, and that was a trap, and then now we gone basically right. So I'm gonna go right again, see if that's a trap. Same plan as before.
So kind of winding down and around this turn, you're going to quickly see that this is a hall that seems to lead to the south. kind of just beyond your light, you see some cobwebs and start to kind of continue to push forward slowly down this hallway. Before a few more feet of pushing through, you start to see that the darkness was not from this hall, like turning somewhere else or going for too long. You are coming to the end of this hall. What sort of thoughts do you have as you approach the end of the hall?
Well, at the moment, my mind is just focused on finding any possible traps, so I don't step in them. So, if I'm going, yeah.
So finding the end of the hall, do you want to then like look for more traps here, like expecting one? Or do you mean that you're like looking for the way forward?
You know, I mean, I'm actually gonna go down and see if this is trapped. Like, it's a dead end, but like the
Okay.
dead end before, that was trapped. So I'm gonna check. Is this also trapped?
Gotcha. You can roll a perception check. It doesn't take you but a moment to locate a pressure plate. With good chunk of your weight, you're able to activate it. Do you want to investigate further to see what the trap might do or what you might be able to do to the trap?
Yeah, actually, and investigate to see if I can find some way to disarm it. Like, yeah.
Gotcha. Roll another investigation here. You could activate the trap and wedge something in there permanently, like a python, to keep the trap like activated, and thus like disarmed. But it's going to activate the trap somewhere around you. Or you can. Yeah, that's a pretty solid roll. And I would say that, like, kind of looking around to pay attention to things, you can see that there is effectively some sort of, like, um, light grouting that shows evidence that it's, like, different than the rest. And you're pretty sure there's basically a blade that will fly out of there and slash through right above this pressure plate. Would you like to disarm it with a python?
I'm just thinking. The blade. Do I know? Like, is it going? I'm trying to figure out if I heard this, but yeah, is it going like horizontally or vertically? Did I figure that out?
Let's say you're reasonably sure you can see that it's going vertically.
All right, well, with that in mind, I'm gonna try to carefully activate the trap and put a python in it to basically disarm it.
Gotcha. Make a dexterity saving throw with advantage here. Or wait, my bad. Dexterity check with advantage. Yep. So as you basically press this down, there's like an actuated movement from above. A like blade is going to slash down and essentially like almost into the actual tiling below it, before it kind of rotates back on this arm. And as you hold it in place with the python, there's like a little bit of like back and forth movement on the mechanism before it loses all of its inertia and the blade just kind of rests right above the tile.
Well, great. That's one less trap to worry about. But yeah, this still seems like a dead end. So I'm gonna check the other side, the left side corner.
Let me get a perception from you here. So, continuing forward inside of this area, this hall starts to lead down, and to the south, you can see that it starts to turn right. And as you kind of follow it, you see that it's kind of U-turning you back to the north before you are going to get to another T-junction where one side seems to head to your left and one side heads to your right. Um, the one to the right you can see goes north. The one to the left you can see goes south.
Oh, another T junction. So let's see. Keep going north then. S-
Gotcha. And as you head off to the north, you are eventually going to come to a smaller little area uh, with like an actual door sill. And ahead of you, there is a large room that's probably about 20 feet north to south, probably about 40 feet east to west. And in the center of it, it seems to have a large, low pedestal, kind of like 5 or 10 feet in diameter, 3 to 4 meters in diameter, and probably like a meter tall, about like 3 or so feet tall. It's just like a big round circle.
Well, yeah. Well, first I'm gonna check like the doorway, I guess, for traps, anything.
My bad. I forgot to say there is a kind of ray of light that is like scattered in from the roof, and it shines down right on the center of this pedestal. So you were saying you are going to check like this area for traps?
Yeah. Just
Let me get a perception from you here. Taking a moment to look. From what you can tell about the first few tiles in this entryway, doesn't appear to have any traps.
all right. Seems safe enough. And then we'll just keep going into the circular area, basically, not straight. Well, not onto it, but like the tile for it.
Gotcha. So as you guys approach to it, you can see that there is another um like archway entrance, like a door sill to this place on the eastern side of the room. There seems to be another hallway off over there. Looking around at the pedestal, it seems to be carved of a few different really nice stones that more or less seem to be similar to the other like sandstones and kind of slate that is used in construction here. Doesn't appear anything else like at a first kind of glance.
And Jarek wants to take a closer look, kind of maybe like do a walk around the pedestal, see if he sees any writing anywhere, like any more cuneiform anywhere on the kind of like the base, or
Go for a perception check here.
kind of like similar to Taryn, doesn't want to step on it, but kind of like get close enough that if he can try and see anything.
And your focus like the whole room. Did you say the pedestal? I feel like you said around the room.
The pedestal, so like more like doing like kind of like a circle around the pedestals. He's looking for see if there's any writing on the pedestal. He's not really
Gotcha.
looking at the rest of the room.
So it doesn't take you but a few moments here to, as you go around the pedestal, you see that there's certainly some really nice craftsmanship to like the rolls and the carvings that happen in like this lower stone, and the stone that's kind of set atop to make the central portion of this pedestal is really nice and finely carved as well. But they are austere. These are like geometric. They have no like writing or art, like no hieroglyphs, They are effectively like smooth crafted stone.
Okay, yes, like no ornamentation, just well crafted, but yeah. Okay.
I feel like it's more like the ornamentation is like shape wise. Um, instead of things like where you would almost expect kind of higher culture, it's almost more rudimentary, perhaps.
Gotcha. Okay. Can we like if we look up, can we see the light that seems to be shining? Does that seem to be, is there like a hole in the ceiling, or does it seem to be like actual sunlight coming down?
Um, yeah, I think as your thought kind of draws you in that direction, you can kind of see up and just initial visual look at it. It seems like maybe 30 or 40 feet up to the ceiling, and it appears to just be a open few inches of this roof. Perhaps it's entirely incidental. You like look back down at the pedestal, and it seems quite odd how perfectly it frames like the center area of this pedestal. You look back up, and it just looks like a hole in the roof. Doesn't really make um, just like it's a failure point when you look at it. When you look down, it seems like it makes sense. Um, like it was planned.
Gotcha.
What kind of things are Island and Zaps doing as you all first approach this?
Well, I'm studying as as an art, an archaeologist. Like I was looking for text as well. I'm curious if there's text on the walls, on the ceiling, anywhere else around, something to
Go
indicate.
for another perception check as you look around the rest of the room, and Jarek covers the central dais. Looking through this room, you're going to see smooth walls. There doesn't appear to be anything else. What you do notice looking around the edges is signs of like mud, dirt, and other things here. This place seems disturbed.
Like maybe it's been flooded.
Roll an investigation, or you can roll like a nature check to try to make something of what you see.
Survival, nature.
Nature to like make an interpretation of it. Survival is for you to actually like do something with it. Um, hmm, I don't think it's gonna look like mud that showed up in a flood. You would almost expect like an even coating here. Um, Perhaps you could see like the gate of somebody's footstep out of this mud. But at very least, this is going to be more like the presence of mud, not naturally there.
I think we may get some muddy-footed visitors at some point, guys. Look, I point this out on the ground. What we're seeing.
What is Zaps doing?
Zap's hearing Island and watching the others go about their business. I'm just gonna kind of have the staff in my hand and just be very ready, especially after what Island said. He's kind of just scanning the room, looking at the ceiling and everything, making sure there's nothing in here with us.
Roll a perception check.
That is a big old 15.
Looking off to the west, or east rather, while you're kind of glancing around looking for the dangers, that other entryway is going to catch your attention for a moment. After like you kind of glance back, you're pretty sure you can see like that white on blackness of cobwebs that do not cross that hallway.
So there's webs there, but they don't cross the hallway.
Webs that have been broken, so they came down.
I'm gonna look at Jarek and Taryn. Guys, the cobwebs on the other side of the room, they're not across the door frame. Something or someone has been here. And I'm gonna start just very slowly making my way towards that door.
Gotcha. So I think you'll be able to pick up into the extent of your vision, kind of the end of that hallway and signs that the hall goes south. But that hall is probably about like 40 or 50 feet long before it seems to turn to the south.
I would just say, yeah, Jarek's kind of right there with him, got his torch in one hand, blade out in the other.
Gotcha. And
As
you
I
guys are
get,
going to start to.
sorry, I was gonna say, as I get closer towards that door, I want to start scanning the floor and see if I can find any footprints or tracks or anything like that.
Make a perception check for me. Following like the mud for long enough, you're pretty sure there's effectively tracks leading along this way.
Did they look like any kind of creature I would have seen before, being in the woods or the jungle for so long?
This isn't that kind of tracks. This is the presence of mud, kind of like in the area, more than that you're actually seeing like a sign of like a foot indentation or even like the pads of anything. It's more that there's like a scattering of mud to be trailed.
Okay, I'm gonna make my way just right on, pretty close to that door. Again, very slowly, and I'm kind of doing what Taryn was doing. I'm putting my foot down on the tiles and just barely leaning into them to see if they move before I step onto the next one.
Gotcha. Terran Island, what are you all up to?
I'm being supportive.
Just like rooting them on? What's Terran up to?
Pretty much.
I'm trying to remember if I missed, but was there anything on the pedestal? Have we seen
There
that?
is not.
And we haven't asked you to climb up there yet, Taryn.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of step into that hallway just a hair.
Yeah, Terran is
There
gonna
was
climb the pedestal just to see if there's anything up there. Getting
You said you're
suspicious.
climbing on top of it, and what was Jarek doing?
Oh, Derek was just gonna say, like, see, like, once Island and Zaps kind of mentioned like the mud. It seems like someone's been in here. He's thinking, if there was something in here, maybe someone beat us to it.
So Terran's climbing up here. Island is kind of cheering everybody on. Zaps is stepping out into the hallway, and Jarek is kind of right behind. As you kind of step out into the hall, your nothing's going to happen despite any trepidation and kind of like tension that builds. Taryn, as you step on top of that pedestal, there's not really any change. You can investigate where like the light is shining and like the central stone that kind of makes up the pedestal, but there doesn't appear to be anything directly before you. And I think Jarek's just kind of guarding Zaps at present, looking to the others. Um, yeah.
I'm just thinking, if I could get up and see, and there's nothing there, can I make a check to like see if there was something there? Mm,
Roll a perception check.
I'm gonna make my way to the kind of where this takes that right hand turn.
Gotcha. Is Jarek following as Zap heads away?
Yep, he's following along with Zaps.
Gotcha. Taryn, as you're kind of like looking down into the pedestal, you can see points in the stone where there's almost like slow aging of moisture over time, and kind of like little bits of like rutting in the stone where like some lime was kind of like consumed by water dripping onto the stone, and you can kind of see like hundreds of years in kind of the surface of the stone, and you can see a small square about the size of every other cube that you have picked up that doesn't show the same like uh depreciation over time, like the same damage from like water over time. There used to be a cube on top of this pedestal.
yeah, as soon as I'm just gonna go, fuck! Someone got it before us. Shit! And then scramble down and basically get to Jarek and Sap.
I'm not sure though if they got there before us because we were in other temples where it wasn't there until we did something and then it appeared.
Yeah, my
Like
question.
maybe there's too like I'm gonna turn off my light spell in this room, so there's only the only light that's in the room is the light from the ceiling. Maybe we can trigger it somehow.
Gotcha.
Go ahead, Seth.
So Taryn is running off to Jarek and Zaps, who are kind of rounding the corner. Island, you're staying behind, turning off your light spell as the other three kind of walk away from you.
Yeah, just to see if a cube appears.
Gotcha. As they round that corner, you're going to see another hallway that extends down to the south. It appears to turn off to the right along the other end. As far as things look, it looks like a empty and clear hall of stone. As their light rounds the corner with Jarek and potentially with Taryn, that room will glow a little bit from this light up above. But otherwise, it's just dark.
So, with the perception checks, would I have been able to tell, like, is that mud fresh or has it been here for a while?
Roll an investigation. Trying to be better about perception is to see what you notice. Investigation allows you to interpret things from what you see.
Okay.
Yeah, looking over the mud and like kind of grinding some of it up in your hand, it's pretty similar texture as to the muds of Omu. Not surprising. You can kind of break it up as if it's been away from the regular rains of daytime for some time. Hard to tell what kind of time frame that is, but it tells you that it hasn't been rained on recently. That's something.
Yeah, it's been here long enough to where it's kind of dried up. So that'd probably take a few hours at the minimum to maybe a day. Okay. I'm going to keep making my way down to this next corner. Same thing, being very, very careful, kind of watching my steps.
Gotcha. What are you being careful for?
I'm basically like, if I step on one of these things and I feel it start to give, like it's got a pressure plate on it, I'm going to stop what I'm doing.
Roll an intelligence roll for me. Are you looking for pressure plates at the end of halls, or are you looking for a new kind of trap?
Yeah, I'm just Just in general, being very careful looking for any kind of trap that's here.
Gotcha. And you're leading everybody as you progress through here. Let me have you roll a perception check, please.
Yeah, that's a 6. Actually, I'm gonna burn another one of those genius things and turn that into a 9.
Roll a dexterity saving. All right. So as you kind of wander down and through this hallway, you're going to kind of follow it along until before, without really recognizing what's going on, you've turned yourself down and into a dead end, and you hear the click of the trap. It is going to swing into your chest as you are slammed by an axe. It is going to deal 12 points of what are axes? I feel like slashing damage as this axe like smacks into your body.
All right. Zach's just gonna go and just kind of fall on his ass.
This place seems to give new meaning to the term dead ends. Like every one we've been to so far is got something nasty waiting for us. So just keep that in mind going forward, everyone.
This place is total bullshit.
So as you guys backtrack, you are going to recognize that at some point in this following this course, Zaps missed a turn. And recognizing that this is not simply a dead end, you guys then come back to this area and have a way to the south.
So the trap was up at the kind of the end, or was it earlier? Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, as he basically wound around to that point.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, I can't believe I missed that whole entrance.
Yeah.
Well, for what it's worth, that's the dice determining. Like a 6 was a low perception check. Looking for like just general traps, you kind of got caught up looking for something new instead of something old.
Okay.
Yeah, then as we backtrack, Terry's gonna, yeah, Saps, buddy, do you mind if I take the lead instead?
Yes, please. Please do.
All right, I'll do that.
So what do you have in mind as you're leading back this way?
Same idea as before, like my 10-foot rod in front of me, just pressing down slightly on every tile before I get onto it.
Gotcha. Yeah, roll another investigation here. Slowly progressing down and away from this area, you are going to be able to find one more direction that will dead end, and that is kind of around and off to the north. And then you are going to quickly find the exit point where you are on the north side of all of the animals. But I think with that, you can kind of successfully have navigated the other side here and find yourselves on the south side of the temple.
Taryn, you didn't try like seeing if there was a perhaps the cube is there, we just can't see it. Like, did anybody actually try and see if there was anything there? Like reach out?
No, I didn't. Want me to check?
Should we? I mean, probably not, but just to cover our bases before we get out of here.
Yeah, before we do that. And Terran starts looking down on the phone, like, do we see any more of those mud trails? Like when we get here to the southern part?
Roll a perception here, Taryn. A couple of things might lead you to think that they're the same signs. There's a lot more mud towards the entrance here, so it's perhaps a little bit more difficult to come to. And then you're also coming back to the point where you all entered, where perhaps some of that mud is falling off of your own feet.
Yeah, shit. Oh, I mean, we could try, Jarek said, just to see if it's some kind of magic fuckery.
Were there any? Were there any other places we didn't? Any corridors we didn't check? This is a bit of a maze to me.
Yeah, I think we maybe a little bit where we didn't go. Then we've been some base we didn't see too.
I mean, there is like some dead ends we didn't go into to see properly, I guess.
I mean, because we've definitely been in these things where we couldn't see the cube until we did something, and then it appeared in the location. So while it could be gone, I'm not so sure.
All right, and there is that area before we went into the room with the pedestal that we didn't check, the west side area.
Should we backtrack back to the pedestal room first and just Eric can see if he, just make sure it's not just, invisible or something.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, sure, let's do that. I mean, some of these places, like Ellen's saying, there's been some magic fuckery going on. So,
As you head back through the halls, trying to make your way back to where you think you remember the pedestal to be, how are you navigating through the halls?
Um, I guess Jarek would probably try and follow the, if we're maybe leaving some like muddy trail, essentially try to pick up his own tracks and follow those. I mean, he knows not to get too close to any dead ends, but other than that, he's kind of his sense of direction is, and he hasn't really been. He's been more focusing on kind of like protecting the people in front of him, so he hasn't really been like trying to map it in his head. So it's definitely more a little bit more of a guessing game with him. But in terms of like how he thinks he's going to try and get back, he might see if he can kind of if we've like left any sort of like of our own tracks behind, kind of follow those back.
Roll a survival check here. This is going to be difficult. I've already said, like, the mud is pretty sparse. Roll a D4, D12. Yeah, so you do a pretty solid job tracking yourselves back towards that pedestal room. As far as things go, you catch yourself one time where you're a little bit doubtful and you see yourselves getting close to a dead end in time before you kind of allow yourself to effectively walk into danger, before you catch yourselves and kind of like nod to yourself like you quite literally watch Zaps walk into that same trap, getting distracted, jogging yourself a little bit. You can progress back and track the other tracks and find yourself back at the pedestal.
Yeah, so Jarek essentially just wants to kind of like walk up and sort of kind of wave his hand through like the area where it had been looks like it had been less disturbed by the like erosion or and just see if he feels anything. Not thinking likely, but
Wave your hand over the like inner stone of this little like monolithic um, dais, and you cross through the light. Cross through the light, waving it back and forth. Doesn't seem to be anything there.
yeah, I can't feel anything here. And we know there are others looking for these things.
Others. What do you mean others?
Well, I believe the Red Wizards run into them a couple times. I'm pretty sure they're trying to find them. Sorry, I actually, me, Justin, can't remember if you were here for any of that, but I assume we would have told Zaps about that. and
No,
tried to-
that was me asking a legitimate question. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I forgot that you weren't joined after we'd had the last fight with them. But essentially, we've come across a couple red wizards and some of their like minions here near some of the temples. Um, I think we have the idea that they are also trying to obtain the cubes. So maybe that they just reached this temple first, or we did, and that maybe you took it.
Okay. So that was temple number 5, and it's been raided. So you guys actually have all 4 of the other cube. Well, I know we have the 1, but you have the other 3.
Believe we've given 2 to Rosny and the Yuan Ti to hold. I think we have. I think Taryn has 2 others. If I'm remembering.
Yeah, you're remembering right. I have at the moment the cube of Wongo and Papa Sotel.
Okay. So we checked the one to the north. It wasn't anything. This was the one to the south on the east side. We need to try to check the one on the south and the west side now. As far as ones where we have there might be a potential location here.
Gotcha. So you are returning to the other door out of this room to the west.
Yeah. Do we want to check that one corridor? Did we confirm whether that led anywhere, or did we not go down that yet? Asking the group.
Yeah, let's just check it before we go out, just in case.
Yeah, I completely agree.
What do you have in mind as you explore this direction?
Well, Taryn is gonna do what he's been doing.
Hold up. Part of what I want you to explain on this, though, is you guys, the players, are looking at a map. You, the people, are walking around a room filled with right and left turns. You're not getting just back to it without a problem. Like, describe to me what you are going to do to try to not only find your way there, but also, I think you guys should know how these traps work by now. How are you going to avoid the traps?
Uh, I would think we would have Taryn lead the way again and kind of have him do what he's been doing.
And as we go out from, like, we know we came in from the east side of this room at least, with the pedestal. So go west and keep following the way, I guess, and then we'll see. You can see that this just check around like the one that goes to the south. See that it keeps going, so that's not a dead end. So we check out the west side.
Are the Would we be able to like scratch anything into the walls to try to like note kind of where we've been already, like with the dagger or something like that, or are they too hard for that?
One of my favorite mundane items is chalk. Do you have chalk?
Jarek does not.
Roll a
Um,
strength check. What are you thinking, Zap?
I was just thinking I was going to use my bracers, take 5 minutes, and make a hammer and chisel. Just make a big ass cross or a couple of punch marks on the walls where we've been.
Uh, I mean, yeah, Jarek doesn't mind waiting 5 minutes for that. Seems like better than him trying to scratch something with his dagger.
Island's waiting, Terran's waiting.
Yeah, I mean, 5 minutes it seems okay to me.
Okay.
Gotcha. So theoretically, that time is going to fly by as you create the hammer and chisel. As far as things go, if you're trying to just do, for the very same reason cuneiform was created, a line to tell you like where you've been, that'll probably take you like 30 seconds to a minute to create. It is pretty hard solid stone, but you can definitely mark it. And it's just how evident you want those marks to be when you guys come back to them. Where are you putting them? How big are you going to do? How much time are you going to invest into making these clear marks versus just like, this is one and done. I can handle looking for it. I just need a dot somewhere.
Yeah, I'd say probably just like a 5 to 6 inch line on the wall that clearly marks, hey, we have been at this wall. And I'm going to, as we make our way back, so I'm going to mark.
If you're marking the wall, are you marking where you guys have gone straight? So you're also putting like an arrow or a directional into them?
Yeah.
Or are you marking where you like turn at a
Yeah. So, like, where it comes kind of where Terran's at right now, I would mark to the right and put a line with just typical arrow, two little slices off the front of it, pointing up to the north.
wait. From where Terran is at, where are you putting it? I got lost where you were putting it because when you said up, it's
Right
confused me.
My line won't stay.
Oh, if you're drawing, I also might not be able to see the line.
Yeah, it's not staying. Yeah. So if you're looking at the thing, the right hand side, I'm putting it.
From Terran, it's to the
Yes.
east of Terran
East.
on that wall.
Yep.
And you want it facing towards the left, towards the north.
Yeah, I want to point the arrow northwards towards that entrance door. Exactly.
All right. So you guys are going to start to systematically go through this place. Let me have a investigation rolled by Terran and by Zaps, please.
23.
So the next significant chunk of time beyond an hour, less than like an entire day, is going to just progress while you two start to systematically like tear apart this dungeon over like a large amount of time. You're going to find where you've essentially spotted that it has 6 of these blade traps My bad. 5 of these blade traps at different dead ends, and then the central pedestal and that entrance hallway. But you guys are gonna go through this, and I'm not sure what you, the players, are looking for, but you, the PCs, feel like you have this temple mapped out. You guys have carvings of arrows in every direction. You eventually have different codes for essentially like there's an arrow to the left here, effectively like north of Jarek, and it has a T next to it. If you go down that hallway, there's a trap at the end of it. And then like the arrow that's like now beside Terran basically points there, and it says P for pedestal. If you enter this door, you will find the pedestal. And then when you guys get closer back towards like the central entrance area, they start to have an E in that direction. So at this point, you guys have this place fully mapped out, and you know like the solution to the way in there. But there's nothing else that you kind of notice as far as signs of like missing space. Um, I'm not sure what else you guys are looking for.
Yeah, I think Jarek's definitely after, especially after that thorough mapping, I think kind of resigned to the fact that somebody got here first and took it.
No, it sounds like we're on the hunt for whoever took this cube as well.
Yeah, we got to find them all.
But perhaps for now, we should focus on finding the next temple as quickly as we can. Don't really don't know we don't have much to go on in terms of where to look for whoever might have taken it. I have ideas on who took it, but no idea where they might be.
Mara, will you mark that temple for us later, like you did the others?
Already on top of it.
Cool, thank you. I wonder if we missed any above us, guys, to the north. Any of these blacked out areas. Which direction do you
Just
guys want to go?
as an aside, I'm gonna say you guys should like try to have a theory of how you're going about this, like what caused you to do what you did. And I'm just gonna throw it out there, like surveying in archaeology, stick to whatever plan you were going with. I understand that those can seem um, like points you missed, but you guys are going to have to go back through Omu pretty much regardless of how things work out. You can't pick the right direction the first time, if that makes sense.
Sure. I was just seeing it as a big oval myself, like from where we started to where they might be. So I was trying to find a pattern the in the map. Which way do you guys want to go?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Bubba.
Yeah, I was thinking we had the other site on the southwestern side, which I thought could be another temple. So maybe we should check there first and then keep going south if we don't find it.
Yeah, I thought they were. But we had kind of learned that they were probably more or less kind of spaced out. So like almost like in a like each kind of section of the city has one temple. So like it won't be like two right next to each other. So if we look at kind of the ones we've found so far, kind of like going in a like a bigger circle, right?
I was trying to scale that oval, but I can't quite make it. I can't make it happen. That's Matt. I'm good to follow you, Jarek. Where do you think our next spot is? Like if you just had to pick on the map where it would be. I'd say there was something over here, but there didn't seem to be something over there. Where do we
Thinking
go?
maybe
Let me have all of you roll a d20, please.
God dang, Taryn, you are quick on them rolls, Boa.
Within moments of you all exiting the temple, this very similar happening is going to occur again, where you guys are going to kind of step out into the light again, and in like a flash, it's just going to be dark. Let me get a perception check from everybody. Island and Terran being perhaps a little bit more prepared for it, you can almost watch this line of black that starts to cross over you where you're in darkness and you can still see the light as it's kind of like scattering off to the east. Over the next few minutes, you guys can basically watch as the sun is setting and darkness just eclipses Omu over like moments because it's like tucked into this jungle here before you all find yourselves in darkness.
Well, that was a surprise, huh?
I mean, I guess we were in there a lot longer than we thought.
Yeah. Plus, I'm feeling a little whooped after taking that axe to the chest.
Yeah, I don't really feel uh, perfect myself, so to say, after those darts. Again, they sucked.
I agree. You know, if we are gonna take a rest, we've mapped out this temple. We know it's relatively safe. Should probably just stay here for the night.
Yeah, and we know that someone at least took the cube in here, so hopefully it's the Red Wizards and they don't come back.
But if they'd found one, I feel like perhaps we need to have a better sense of urgency to try to find the others.
I mean, honestly, if they find them, then we know they have them. So they're all we'll be all be gathered in one place then, and we still have two and two more with Rosni. So there's four of them that they won't get.
Aku's going to look over at Taryn. Did you just suggest that it would be easier to find what we search for by allowing those that we would have to then kill? Find them?
I mean, not have to kill them, but
She's
yeah,
got
I
like a
mean,
wry little smile on her face, like like she knows she's got you backed in this corner, and like it's half a joke but half seriously. Like, are you feeling a bloodlust?
no, fuck. I mean, I didn't mean to kill them. I mean, I just meant that we know where they were. I, I could steal them back, yes, but
Eku's
yeah,
gonna start laughing out loud at you.
Sounds like you're full of shit. Sounds like you want to just go fuck them up.
no, preferably no one has to be fucked up, but least of all me. But still, yeah, yes, it still would be easier to get them out of the temples than out of a red wizard's hand. So
I think that our friend was just being pragmatic. But I do agree we need a sense of urgency. But finding these other temples does not seem to be something we can do quickly.
Eku, I think, will, after a few moments, um, kind of looking back towards Taryn, allowing her laughter to stop, and just kind of like calming herself and taking a stern look back to you. If we must face them, Do you think you can be a non-violent solution?
Oh, I can do that. Do you mean can Taryn do that?
I
I
mean, she
mean,
was looking to Taryn to ask the question, but you can certainly. They're not being private unless, in particular, Taryn would like to take this to a private.
no, I mean, I'm not taking this to private. This is open, so. But still, time to go. I mean, I wouldn't be non-violent, but I could be non-lethal at least.
And I've got a few tricks up my sleeve to, well, put him to sleep. We'll put it like that. I don't have to kill him.
She'll kind of look between, like Island and to Zaps. We may not have a choice, but it does seem that we will have to meet. And she'll look over towards Jarek, either the Yuan Ti or perhaps others, to find all of these. And she'll just look back to Taryn with, but you bring up a good point, that there are others, and we do have to face them, at least for what they already have.
If we do get into a fight, does that mean I get to see you turn into a dragon?
She'll kind of look back to you and just with like a little like wink. Not if I can avoid it.
Avoid it my ass. I'm curious.
Why is it so important to you to experience my nature?
Part of the reason I set out on this journey was the mysteries of the world. Never seen someone turn into a dragon before. Not very many people have.
What, my turning into a vulture wasn't enough for you?
Oh, no, that was fucking hilarious. Sorry again about the whole flamethrower.
I'll bet it'll look better a few burns than being stuck in that form for longer than I had to be. Still haven't completely gotten the taste out of my mouth.
I've eaten worse things. Trust me. You want to see what they feed slaves on the Sword Coast?
Time will pop up with that. Like, nah, I think I'm good. That that is not something I have to think about, please.
Also, I guess the question is, do we try and press on for a bit through the night, or rest up and get a fresh start in the morning? Suppose, Taryn, you have a point. In any event, we're not going to be able to recover all of them ourselves immediately. So perhaps we should try and get some rest.
I would say rest here for the night in a safe-ish place. Safe as anywhere can be here.